The 117th Church of God in Christ Holy Convocation is set to kick off next week here in the Bluff City. Starting next Tuesday, people from all over the world will travel to Memphis to enjoy 7 days of events planned by COGIC and explore everything the city has to offer. Here to talk more about this year's gathering is the pastor of Pentecostal Temple Institutional COGIC and the great-grandson of the event's founder, Bishop Charles Harrison Mason Patterson. Bishop, welcome to 3 at 3. Good to see you. How have you been doing?
I'm doing great, sir. I'm doing great.
My pleasure. It is an honor to have you here. Let me begin with the Holy Convocation brings together representatives from all 50 states, as well as international delegates from Israel, France, the United Kingdom, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and much more. What makes Memphis so unique? What makes it so special?
I have to sum that up by just simply saying that Memphis is the home of the Church of God in Christ. The roots of the ministries of the Church of God in Christ extend from Memphis throughout the world. When the Lord led Bishop Charles Harrison Mason to start our church, he led him to place it, the roots of that church here in the city of Memphis. So Memphis is special to the Church of God in Christ because it is our home, it is our headquarters.
I've heard it referred to over the years that I've been here that it's the Mecca.
The Mecca of the Church of God in Christ. It is.
For this year in particular, with us dealing with so many issues, not just here at home, but worldwide, is there one thing for this year's convocation?
Well, we're facing the fact that there is unfinished business for the body of Christ. And so our leader, Bishop J. Drew Sheard, has centered the attention of the delegates, the members, the constituency of the Church of God in Christ on fulfilling the mission of Jesus Christ. And so we are committed to being not only the mouthpiece of Jesus Christ, but being the hands and the feet of Jesus Christ to show the world the love of Jesus Christ. And so we're committed to fulfilling that mission.
And Bishop, when it comes to the work that's being done year-round by the Church of God in Christ, we see it here in Memphis. What are some of those projects that are so important to the church?
Well, we are centering our attention on making sure that the communities that surround our local churches feel the presence of the Church of God in Christ in their neighborhoods. We are committed to meeting the needs of God's people, sharing the gospel of Jesus, the life-changing gospel of Jesus Christ, as well as meeting the needs that are present in our community. And so, as I said before, we're centering our attention on being the hands and the feet of Jesus to extend that ministry throughout the world.
And Bishop, I do have to ask you about the future of the Church of God in Christ, especially in Memphis, Tennessee, having the Holy Convocation here. There has been word, or I guess it's official now, it will be moving again to St. Louis in 2026?
Yes, sir.
Why so? And is there a chance it can return to Memphis?
Well, I'm going to say that there is a great chance that the Church of God in Christ Holy Convocation will be returning back to Memphis. I think there's a great chance for that. We had to move before, I think, because of the accommodations were better in St. Louis, and I think that has a lot to do with the reason why we're going back. But Memphis is a city on the move. We are progressing and moving forward. We thank God for the leadership of the city. But the Church of God in Christ, even though the convention is moving, the presence of the Church of God in Christ will continue to be felt here in the city. As I said, this is our home and this is our headquarters. The Church of God in Christ isn't going anywhere. We will be here.
Is there anything more that the Church of God in Christ would like for the city of Memphis to do in the future, especially when it comes to our hotels?
I think that the city is progressing, as I said before. I am optimistic concerning the future of the city of Memphis. And I believe that we can see that there is development and growth here in the city, and I think that the accommodations are going to be to the point where this convention can come back along with other conventions. And so I remain optimistic about the relationship of this convention and the city.
Have you heard any questions from other saints about Memphis's image these days, whether it's the Memphis Safe Task Force being here or the National Guard or maybe crime problems? Are those issues or what? How do you see it?
I think that if we're honest, that Memphis is like most large metropolitan cities. We have our issues with crime. I think that the Church of God in Christ stands behind the efforts that are being made by our leadership to try to address those issues. We're looking forward to this convention. We're not anticipating, any problems because the Safe Task Force is here. I think that most of us as Memphians agree that whatever help we can get, we welcome that help. And so the saints are coming. We're looking for a time of revival and refreshing in our meeting. If the saints come in contact with any of the Safe Task Force, I'm certain that they're going to witness and share the love of Jesus Christ with those that are part of the Safe Task Force. But we welcome the presence. We're not against any law enforcement that's working in the favor of the protection of the citizens of the city.
Bishop, honored to have you here. We need to do this again.
Yes, sir.
Come on back anytime.
Anytime.
All right,
sir.
we'll make it happen.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
sir.
you again.
Thank you.